Nina Turner is someone I'm admittedly only passingly familiar with, though I know she is pretty progressive and definitely on the left. She worked as an Ohio State senator and with Bernie Sanders on his 2020 presidential campaign, as well as having worked for multiple media outlets, including CNN and TYT, and is an extremely vocal voice of the genocide in Gaza. Well, she was on CNN after the Michigan primary, where tens of thousands of people voted uncommitted to show support for Biden calling for a ceasefire, where she brings up Israel's horrific acts before getting cut off and spoken over by almost all of the panel. Watch just how Anderson Cooper reacts and the gross tactics he tries to use to distract from Nina's original point.
And they are in fact suffering. And I am young enough to remember, colleagues, when Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib and also Congresswoman Cori Bush called for a ceasefire very early on. They were called abhorrent. Now, fast forward to all of these bodies laying in the wake and people who are living through this every single day.
So by the way, there's also been slaughter in Israel.
I was going to say.
So there's a lot of pain on both sides.
No, I'm
not lecture on the problem.
I hate that so many people do this whataboutism, where if you bring up the slaughter in Palestine, it's, well, what about the death in Israel? You also have to mention that. Why don't you care about that? Imagine applying that logic to anything else. Well, a couple of the KKK died as well. A bunch of Nazis died. What about them? Do you not care about them? You can see clearly how it's pretty inhumane. And in this imbalance, one side gets all the media coverage, all the defense, all the money by America, and has all the power, while the other side gets constantly interrupted, told they have to condemn Hamas or talk about the deaths of Israel, the people who is killing them and oppressing them, anytime they mention the indiscriminate slaughtering of women and children.
I'm not denying that pain. All I'm saying that at a certain point after October the 7th, it becomes clear. I mean, you have a right-wing prime minister.
Right. We don't need to debate the issue.
But you understand what I'm saying? I'm not denying anybody's pain. What I am saying is that this president and our country has the power to say to Netanyahu, we need a permanent ceasefire. The only time hostages...
Reason, though, if I can push back here,
one more point. The only time hostages were released is when we had that brief ceasefire.
Saying we don't need to debate the issue is gross when all she's trying to do is discuss the issue, which is very much needed. People should know about the pain and suffering that is happening day in and day out in Gaza, with Palestinians being bombed and forced to flee their homes, only to have to go to safe zones and have them bombed and have to flee those as well, and now live in fear that Rafah, the final safe city in Gaza, is about to be invaded and bombed as well, or how Israel has killed over 30,000 innocent civilians at this point, and by Israel's best estimates, they've only removed up to 20% of Hamas, meaning at least over 150,000 civilians would have to die for Netanyahu's mission to be accomplished, the overwhelming majority of those being under 14, women, or the elderly. And Nina makes great points here. A ceasefire is the only time that we saw hostages released in this entire situation, and I agree that Biden should be working towards making that happen, whether it be pulling back resources, outright demanding a ceasefire publicly, voting with the UN on their resolutions. A ceasefire needs to happen. The hostages can be released this way, and then there needs to be some sort of a deal brokered with the Arabic nations surrounding to rid of Hamas's power and influence and begin true support for a Palestinian state. If you enjoyed these videos, we're Social Society. We're a commentary channel influenced by politics, society, and the economy. We are pretty left-leaning on this channel, but we're open to our right-wingers as well. The biggest thing here is having conversations that get everyone to the bottom of the truth. If that sounds like something that could interest you, consider smashing that subscribe button, leaving us a like, or even commenting on this video. We even have memberships available as low as $3 if you'd like to support, because the only way we become a society is together.